Hello everyone, you are watching Build Remarkable Business, the only show where engineering and creativity are brought together to serve your business. This is your host, Marina. Hey, today I would like to talk about the very important process of delegating decisions in your hospitality business. This is even more important when it's about small business owners of small hotels, boutique hotels that I work with. But in general, I've seen so many business people who are always so busy answering their phones, which are ringing around them, and being in a huge hurry to answer certain emails. And it actually, from the side, it feels like an addiction, to be honest. And what is seen from, other people's perspective, it's that those people are really they're not well organized. They lack really good organization. And usually they're in a desperate need of it. So it's one thing to really love your business, to be in it, to want to control every aspect of it because you have a great vision of it. And you are definitely important because you're the person who started it and who has it all in your head. But it's not that you can actually accomplish anything of it if you're so much into your business. You're being too close to it. So you are missing the opportunities to make nice and smooth flows and to organize it so it can be, even more successful, definitely more successful. So when you start with your small hotel, you're usually doing many things, many roles across many departments. You may have a couple of people helping you in your team. But then at one point you will definitely have to have more people, and the problem with that, especially in the start, is that owners start to micromanage their teams, and then they are definitely not putting a physical effort to do certain jobs, but they're still using lots of their time and energy to follow closely different departments and people, and that's definitely not the solution I'm talking about here. So let's go quickly through 4 steps of how to do this for the first time especially. So the first important thing is to understand all the different levels on which you can make decisions. The second is to set limits in the form of costs for each decision, especially on each level. And the third is to make the making, but it's to make the context in which making the right decision will be easy for your team. And then eventually just get out of the way and let that structure run while you're doing the things you are irreplaceable at, because that's the most important task of you as a visionary in your business. So once you're done with that one-man show stage where you are trying to do everything and to be playing every single instrument to say so in your business, you actually decide to go from a childhood phase to maturity, and that's where you start thinking about, what are the standards I've been using? What are the standards I expect from my employees? And what does it all need to be included so it feels like I'm still doing everything? Not that it feels like, but that it looks like, right? That you keep all those standards and that you provide what you imagined to your guests. So that first thing is to understand your organizational chart. It may be that you don't have one because you're small, but it's nothing more than just putting on a big paper all the departments that you have currently, or even that you will soon have, that you plan to have. So it would be like different restaurants, bars, room, maintenance, finance, and to put them on a certain level so that you can visually separate what are operational levels and which are management levels. This is important because the decisions that are made on the different levels will have different risks and opportunities, so different consequences on your business. But one more important thing to understand here is who on these levels have a direct contact with guests. And this is important because when you are making a decision in management, you actually want to consider and to hear your staff in operational levels, who usually have a close relation with your guests, right? Like someone from the room service or restaurant or from reception, so that you are available to really hear the wishes and needs of your actual guests, so that you can kind of align your management decision, which is always about some kind of direction, with the real needs. Okay, so the second important step would be to set limit in terms of cost for each level. This means that when you have a certain, you have a role for each department, you have a responsible person. It can be one person for multiple roles, but it's still important to understand that there is some role that is responsible for a certain number of tasks or the whole department. And for each role in that chart, you want to write down the decisions that role can make and is expected to make, so that in this step you can set the limit. So I don't know, let's say the restaurant chef cannot make the decision which will cost more than 1,000 euros, for example. So this brings freedom to all of your people, because they will not need your approval before they make decision, which, if it turns wrong, will not cost more than that limit set. And if they see that it will cost more, then they can contact you and ask for your approval. But this will also not happen very often, because it's characteristic for different levels to actually have a constant levels, those limits of cost as well, right? And then once you have this, you also want to make sure that they have all the right resources to make the right decision, because making right decisions, it's not so easy, right? Especially not for someone who's just doing their daily tasks and is not used to it. It's not a leader. So you want to try to help your employees to have kind of your mindset, and you do this in a part of training them. So I recommend you watch my Train Your Employees video. But what's important to emphasize here is that you really want them to understand the mission and the vision of yours, so they understand how they influence, what influence they have in it. So, for example, your chef will very easily understand what kind of meals he or she is supposed to cook, depending on the style of your hotel, depending on the cuisine you have intention to offer, and so on. So it's about how they participate in the big picture of your hotel. But then also it's about helping them developing that right mindset of leadership. So you can consider having a mentor for them for a certain time, or even you mentoring them, but it's very different from micromanaging them. So then when you've done all these 3 steps, you can just watch and listen the orchestra playing. So you've written those notes, and if you wish, those notes would be your standards, your protocols, everything kind of explained nice and neatly on how you would do their job. So this is also one great advantage with small owners, is that they have that experience of working in every single role. So once they employ a person for that role, they can really well explain them what are their expectations. But the frustration comes because you skip this step. You expect that person to be skillful and to know what to do, and I'm sure that that person has those skills, but then you have to put those skills in the function of the whole context of your hotel and your vision. So it's a small stuff which makes such a huge difference. And then you can be thinking about the tasks where no one can replace you, thinking about new directions, new ideas, about reinventing certain departments, or maybe even whole hotel or specific events, new prospects connected to community, or some different projects you really care about and you really stand for. So that a completely new field of opportunities opens, and that's the moment when you actually start to do the really important tasks. So let me know in comments what are the decisions you really need to make, because it's you who need to set certain expectations and directions, so where you are irreplaceable. And on the other side, what are types of decisions which you really need to delegate to someone. So if you're interested in making a boutique experience in your hotel and becoming a remarkable one, contact me in the link below so we can start working on that today.